question for you, and I want you to think about this.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about making friends when you get elected to be on the school board? I know a lot of folks, they might not think about it at first, right? So they can go out there, they can talk about their vision and their platforms freely, but when they get elected, it kind of changes a bit because they have to kind of make the people around them happy.
Mm-hmm.
Are making friends, is that on your top priority list, Sharon?
No, not at all. Not at all. I want to build relationships. I want to build relationships and trusting relationships so that you can come to me with your concerns and know that Sharon will take your concerns to the board to be addressed. And it may not be addressed in the way that you want it to be, but know that it will be addressed and that it will be at the table. So a friend to me is someone who is going to help you whether you're right or wrong, right? I don't need you to be my friend just because I'm saying everything you want me to say.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to hold me accountable. I need you to feel like you can trust me. I need you to know that I have your best interests at heart and that we can move forward in a trusted relationship. So That's what I'm looking for.
So we have a school board candidate that's saying they want to be held accountable. They want to be transparent. They want to help the community. They want to be innovative in how they think about things. And they want to create opportunities. And hopefully we're going to be able to redefine the next 400 years, right? Because the narrative right now has not been controlled by our community.
Right.
It hasn't been. And it's time that we recapture that and we really do start to make some changes in our communities because we're the only people that can really support us, Sharon. No one else is going to support us like we can. And when I say we, I mean Black folks, right? And that's the primary population over there in North Minneapolis. In certain neighborhoods, it's all Black. And right now, they're experiencing a lot of disparities. They have been for a long time. Yeah. NPR just acknowledged it in their article that they wrote about. There's a lot of other media outlets that also write about those things, disparities. But I feel like people just don't see it sometimes, especially greater Minnesota and in our suburbs.
Right.
They don't see the disparities, right? We do. We live it. So with that being said, what are some of the greater barriers, obstacles, tangible things, right, that we can point at and say, here's an example of a disparity. Here's an example of an obstacle that our kids face in North Minneapolis, in South Minneapolis, and St. Paul. What are a few things that come to mind?
One of the things, again, I'll go back to the digital divide that we're dealing with, right? When we think about North Minneapolis versus South Minneapolis, you have families that again, North Minneapolis, we're not equipped. We don't have all the tools. We don't have all the technologies. Whereas South Minneapolis, you have families. I am part of several different parent groups, if you will, right? And so sometimes the topics comes up and
so you're an insider then. It's safe to say you're an insider. You're hearing these conversations. Yep. You know what's out there. Okay,
Yep,
good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so you'll see basically kind of on the South side, they started creating these parents that came together,
yep.
right? And we're helping each other when it came as far as like tutoring their students and stuff, right? So again,
so that parent organizations tutoring students together.
Yep. So again, they are making sure that their children are continuing to be educated in the right way, right? We don't have that in North Minneapolis, at least that I've seen, right? We don't have that opportunity. The opportunity is there, but we have not created it yet for our families to be able to continue. So I may not understand English, right? Or math may not be my strong subject, but the parent over here may know, that may be their strong subject.
Yep.
Let's build a coalition or a group that we can come together and we can take care of our own, right? When we can start doing things like that, we can make sure that our children, again, continue to excel and that they have what they need. And it's not, we have it amongst us, but there's been no real push to kind of bring it together, if you will. So that's one way that I would say that the disparities continue to be amongst us within our school. The other is when it comes to our teacher placement, right? Our Northside school get the least experienced teachers placed into our schools, right? So you give us the least experienced of teachers to deal with the most diverse community, right? The ones that have the most challenges.
And when you say least experienced, you're talking about freshly graduated white women who are coming into North Minneapolis educating our students. I got to be frank. I got to be honest. That's what it is. It's white women who just graduated from a 4-year institution, and they're coming to North Minneapolis, and they're coming in with good intentions, but they just don't have the experience, and they're not learning from these institutions how to properly support this demographic.
Absolutely. That's exactly what's happening. So you have these teachers come in, and at first they're high energy, right? They're ready to go. And if you see them after about a year's time, they're depleted.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They don't
I
know how.
I can say that because I have white women friends who are teachers. I actually have some white. I went to Winona State University. That was my alma mater.
Okay.
So we're known for our education program.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of friends there, and they will say the exact same thing. I went to a school in North Minneapolis, Patrick Henry, and I was excited. I was looking forward to my teaching experience. I went to take all these things that I thought I learned and to bring it to this classroom full of kids who I thought I was going to be able to inspire and support. And 6 months down the line, I'm pooped. I'm literally, I'm almost want to change my career.
Yeah.
I have some of them come to me and say they almost want to stop being a teacher. They want to go back to school or do social work or do something else.
It's real because again, you're putting them into an environment that they don't know. They don't know the culture. They don't know how to deal with our young black men and our young black women, right? They don't know how to teach our students. They just are not equipped, and our district is not equipping them with the information that they need. So again, that's another area, right, where we see the disparities that take place. And then the whole accountability piece. I mean, thankfully we have some strong principals right now over at North High School and Henry High School. We have two very strong African-American principals that are over there that are really pushing for their change, that are really holding their staff accountable, right? But prior to that, we did not have anyone that was really pushing for the accountability on the staff part. So I experienced where my son was in a social studies class, and he was the class was given the video, Coach Carter, to watch during this class time.
I've seen that so many times in school.
Right. All right. And this was 11th grade. My son was in 11th grade. So my son, he's pretty headstrong. He was not going to waste his time sitting in his classroom watching this. So he would leave the classroom, and he would go and he would be with his deans, or he would be with whoever else during this period. Well, this teacher started deciding to fail him, right? So that basically upsetted him because he had his goals, right? He was trying to keep his grade, his GPA up, and this teacher was failing him in his classroom.
Wow.
I didn't know about it until he brought it to my attention, right? And comes to find out that she was failing him because he chose to leave the classroom. But had he stayed in the classroom and watched Coach Carter, he would have got an A. So he still was failing, right? Because now you're giving him a grade and you got him moving on as if he's receiving the information that he needs to move forward, but he's not, right? So now you're pushing my child through the classroom without the educational tools that he needs.
Yeah.
And so, but if you don't have someone who's holding these educators accountable, this is what takes place in these classrooms. You have classrooms that you go into. I have my grandson where classroom was basically art all day long. All day long. And you pass him and you send him on to 5th grade, you send him on to 6th grade, but he hasn't been equipped with any of the reading, the English, the math, the science, and this is what's taking place. But if you don't have that person in the right role that's holding staff accountable, this is what takes place within our Northside schools.
Absolutely. And then we got, if we look at Osseo and all these other, suburban schools, right, the Minnetonkas, the whatevers, they're teaching their kids actually in the classroom, right? They're learning critical thinking and problem-solving skills at a very early age. They're diving into some higher-level math skills, and although they may not be able to do it right away, they're teaching them, slowly introducing them into these problems, right? And then they're working with them to get through it. We're not experiencing it. Like you said, there's 3rd grade, 4th grade classrooms where it's just drawing and art.
It's just drawing and art. And so you ask the teacher how's things going, and they're saying great. They're all excited because they got the students to sit all day long and do art. It's totally unacceptable. It's total failure. This is how the achievement gap begins, right? This is where the failure begins. But yet you're still pushing them through the system, right? And so you have the district celebrating that graduation numbers are going up, celebrating that, we have all these people in attendance, but they are graduating with what? That's always my question. What are we graduating them with, right? So now you have these students that have their diplomas, right? But what are they equipped with? Most of them go away to high school or to college, and that first year they're back because they didn't understand, they didn't learn the basic of time management. They didn't understand, the basic of the math that they should be, the algebra and all the different things that they should be able to do once they enter into that first year of college. So they're all excited, but within that time frame, they're right back home because they were not able to keep up. The professor is not taking that. When that professor says the paper is due on Monday, June 2nd, it's due on Monday, June 2nd.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And as a master's student, I've been in school for a long time.
Right.
And higher education for 6 years now. Mm-hmm. When the paper's due on Monday, whatever date it is, that's when it's due.
Right. But when you're in high school and the teachers allow you to turn it in, 2-3 days later, you can, you create these habits.
Partial credit and all these other little things that's not flying when you get to college. And that's why we have a lot of young brothers and sisters who are from our community who do go off to college, which is a great thing, but they end up failing, right? Yeah. So they get to school, and within their first year, because they were not properly prepared in high school and in middle school, they get there and they underperform.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly.
And they flunk out.
And we've had that happen for too long.
And now they're in debt too now, Sharon. Mm-hmm. Let's not forget about that piece. Yeah. So our school systems fail them from middle school, really elementary. From elementary school, this is my perspective, right? We get failed from elementary, and then we get passed to middle school, then we get failed in middle school, and then we passed along to high school, and then we get failed in high school, passed along to either go to the military, back into the streets, work in some dead-end job that's not going to lead us anywhere. Yeah. Some of us might, look up and go to a vocational training program, and they might earn a decent living. That's a great thing, right? And then some of us go to colleges, universities, and then when that first year or two, we quickly realize that we've been failed our whole entire life in the education system. We take out all these loans because a lot of us come from families who can't afford to pay for schools, and our grades weren't that great, so we couldn't get a scholarship. So if we did want to go to college, right, we had aspirations to go to higher education to find our way out, then we have to take out loans. That's a reality.
That's reality. Yeah.
And then we realized that we were underprepared, and then we fail. Mm-hmm. And now I'm stuck with $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 worth of debt without that piece of paper. Yep. And now I'm back working a job at Menards, McDonald's. And I'm not trying to knock anyone working those jobs. I've worked those jobs in my life, and that's a stepping stone for a lot of people. Right. You need to make money, right?
Right.
But the thing is when we have people that go to college for 2 years thinking they're going to graduate with a 4-year degree and make that $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 plus salary, and they fall short of that, and now they have debt now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do they dig themselves out of it, Sharon?
Right. Right. So again, it's just we're just spinning our wheel, right? We gotta do better. We owe it to our families. We owe it to us, right? To make sure that we are more equipped, that we are better taken care of, that we understand the process when it comes to the educational system. And again, I say it all the time, even within our community, just because we look like us don't mean we're always for us, right?
What they say, all skin folk ain't kinfolk?
You got it. Yeah, exactly. So we have to, again, when we put these leaders in place, hold them accountable. So you hear it from me. Once I do make that next step and I win District 2 in November of this year, hold me accountable, because I can only get better by you holding me accountable.
Absolutely.
And we have to do that. We have to hold our leaders accountable and make sure that they are responding to us, and not just show up when they need our votes, but to continue to be amongst us and fighting for the things that we need within our community.